Welcome back to another episode of the Three Falls Podcast. This is Matt, joined alongside by Derek. Derek.
Oh, I get second billing?
Yeah. Well, if you did the intro, you would have first billing.
Yeah, I used to do the intro, but someone stole my gimmick.
You could have it back.
Oh, well.
Well, go ahead. Intro us.
Welcome to the Three Falls Podcast. I'm Derek, joined as always by Matt and our other, co-host every week now, Mike Punga. Mike, welcome back.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Thanks for having me back. Appreciate that. Thanks for that great introduction there, Derek. I appreciate the intro.
See, if I was introing, it would be the sexiest man alive, Mike Punga.
Wrestling enthusiast.
Well, I mean, wrestling enthusiast is good with me, Matt. Thanks. Appreciate it.
The modern day recruit.
We can't say sexiest man alive because he is taken, so.
I am.
And just like that, you heard the heartbreaking of all the women listeners.
Oh, God.
All -5 of them.
Well,
hey, listen. Irony to that, Matt. You want to tell them? Go ahead.
The most listened to podcast in the last 30 days is Punga and myself.
When I filled in for you. So, yeah, keep laughing.
I don't know how metrics work sometimes, but that is the most listened to podcast. We must have had.
Is that an insult? I don't understand.
No.
Okay,
No.
all right.
I think
I work at a call center too, Matt. I know. Okay, I know what metrics are.
With all the calculations, it just simply equals to this: Punga equals ratings. Okay, no one can see you dancing. It's a podcast.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were doing the Brodus Clay dancing.
All right, moving on.
Hey, Ariane came back, one of the Funkadactyls, so I thought that's why you were doing that.
Oh, no.
Anyway, we're gonna start from the top. Normally I would do birthdays, but the biggest news this week was the passing of Kamala. Lots of tributes to Kamala. I thought we could spend some time talking about Kamala and some of our memories of Kamala.
Lots of tributes indeed. I've even painted a moon and stars on my belly. Would you like to see?
Oh, boy.
You are a man.
One thing about him is, if I want to say something about Kamala, is that he's proof that you don't need to be a technical wizard to have a career in pro wrestling. Gimmick is very heavy. He got this gimmick, the Kamala, the Gone to Giant, from Jerry Jarrett and Jerry Lawler in Memphis. And the debut was actually pretty funny because it was filmed in the Jerry Jarrett's backyard. And it made it look like the wilderness. He's had feuds with Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, the SummerSlam feud he had with Undertaker, where it was like a casket match, SummerSlam '92.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and I mean, like the thing about like Kamala is that he's one of the wrestlers that a lot of people who watched remember and often mimic with slapping their belly and everything like that. He also, here's a fun fact, has one of the most rare Hasbro dolls out there, Hasbro action figures, because there's one that was mispainted or painted differently, and that one's actually probably the most expensive one to find. One of my favorite memories of Kamala, especially in the later years, was when he made an appearance during the Diva Search, where they had to, there's a curtain and or something, and they had to, like, it opened up and they had to try to seduce whoever was on the other end, and it was Kamala. And the surprises, like, I remember, like, I think it was like Maria Kanellis, like her face, and she just a shock, but then started laughing, and I think she started rubbing his belly or something like that. But the fact that he was very true, very, very, you didn't see him break kayfabe too much. I mean, he always stayed in character. He always, even as a wrestler, and that's one of the things that, kind of bugs me today, is that, with wrestling, often wrestlers will break character while they're performing in the ring. They kind of forget who they are or what they're the story they're trying to tell out of the ring, and they break character. Or they're not true to it. And Kamala he was always true to it. Even down to not even knowing how to pin his foe. So it's very, I know like his last couple years weren't the best years, losing his legs and everything. And it's sad. It's very sad. Another one from the 80s. But
Yes.
oh, and one of my favorite autographs I have is my Kamala autograph. I got in the Pro Wrestling Crate years ago.
Oh, nice. Well, hey, at least you got a signature of, souvenir from him.
You could tell me he was in the Hall of Fame and I would believe you. Like, he's one of the guys that should be in there. I mean, he is a timeless character.
Texas Wrestling Hall of Fame.
I know he often
Okay.
he was always in and out with
There
WWF.
He should be in the Hall of Fame. Like Derek said, he is one of those characters where, he had matches, memorable matches with what some of the stars, and he's one of those characters where you just remember him, So, from the face paint to the patent on the belly, he was just one of those special characters. So, yeah.
No, he is not in the Hall of Fame, but there was rumors back that he was supposed to be in the 2013 class of Hall of.
Well,
Maybe.
there was the big lawsuit. A lot of the former talent were going after the WWE for concussion lawsuits. So there's a
Okay.
lot of talent that's been involved in that have prevented them from going in the Hall of Fame. Demolition's a name that's involved in that. They're not in the Hall of Fame. There's
Probably
Anyway.
a good list of them, yeah.
Anyway, Kamala, I can, watching wrestling in the 90s, when he came back, he was more of a,
Yeah.
I don't want to say comedic wrestler, but he was kind of a really colorful heel with the face paint, and
Mhm.
he wouldn't talk. He would, and all that. And I remember he was with.
What did
with
he do?
Slick. Wasn't he always like, I can't do it.
No, I think you did a pretty good impression.
So he was with Slick, and I just remember the storyline about you are a man.
Yeah.
You could talk and everything, and
10
you know.
pin bowling.
Yeah, wow.
Bowling on. That's why I like. That's another thing about Kamala was the Coliseum video vignettes they used to have with him.
So he the finishing move. He'd always like slap the belly, run the ropes, do the splash. He had a long career, like long before that. I remember watching one of those old Maple Leaf Garden shows in the 80s, mid 80s, early to mid 80s, where he's going against Andre at Maple Leaf Gardens. Like, he was a huge heel at the time. Like, he would go territory to territory. He worked world class. He worked like everywhere long before his WWE run. So, he had a really good career. I got to meet Kamala, actually.
Ooh. Did you rub his belly?
No, I did not.
Where did you
so
meet
this
him,
is
Matt?
I met him in Oshawa at the Warrior One show. So that was in
2000. It was June 26, 2004.
That's correct. Or 2005.
That's what I said.
2005. Yeah, so I met him there. He teamed with Crazy Steve. He was in a tag match. Crazy Steve against the Highlanders.
Ooh.
So you can tell the time.
Yeah.
When he was hot at the time, right? The Highlanders were the big indie team then, and they were just getting ready for their WWE run. But Kamala did autographs before the show, and he had somebody was Kim Chi at the table with him, and my friend Jay, the Snowman, was with me, and he always had awesome programs, old wrestling programs. So he had all these cool programs from the old London Gardens when WWF would go there in like the 80s, late 80s.
Yeah.
And he had some awesome pictures of Kamala that he signed, and Kamala remembered the pictures and stuff. So he was.
That's the best part of something like that. That's the
if
best.
you ever hear Kamala talk out of character,
yeah,
he was like a southern.
These are nice pictures you have. Like, he had like that, like, very boisterous voice.
Well, he didn't quite sound like Freight Train, but
Well, he's
yeah,
from Mississippi.
Yeah,
He's from Mississippi.
yeah,
So
he
you
was.
got that southern twang in there. And what I was gonna say there, Matt, was about the signing the pictures and him remembering.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool memory that Jay can always have. That he or and you just seeing him kind of remember the pictures. Oh yeah, I remember that show, or that type of thing. I remember uh, you know having an experience like that, and the guy looked at the picture and he was like, you know, I look better in this picture than I do now, and I'm like, oh, and I kind of just like, are you gonna sign the picture? And I walked off, but I was like, but it's kind of a cool like thing when they notice that
Yeah.
type of moment.
The only thing that sucked that night is Kamala lost. And it was due to that dastardly Jimmy Hart.
Oh, Jimmy Hart.
That's delicious, baby.
Yeah. One thing I just want to add before we change topics is the thing with Kamala is you won't see that gimmick any too much more these days with the way that the world is. A lot of people see it as or perceive it as like a racist gimmick. And that kind of gimmick you really won't see, but I don't understand it myself, and that's only because like I'm ignorant. But like I know like there are like people out there that are actually like that, like and, like in Africa and China, and you saw like it's funny because like if you go to the timeline of that character, Umaga was the next one to kind of be like the headhunter and everything like that. And a fun fact is Kamala's last match ever in WWF or WWE was against Umaga.
Wow.
It happened on a Raw. He put over Umaga.
Umaga technically would have been the updated version of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you go
Yeah.
along, like that is, and you probably won't see it that gimmick anymore in wrestling.
No.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so, but every 5 or so years, WWE will come up with something that.
Well, if you really want to go, the closest thing that they had to that would probably be the Usos when they were tag teaming, like when they had the Umaga war paint and that, and they did the dance.
Yeah, I would probably say if closer comparison would probably be to Samoa Joe if he did that type of gimmick and did the war paint, being,
Well, he kind of did it in TNA, but you won't see him do it in WWE. Like,
true. But yes,
Anyway,
our
before we
condolences.
move on to the next topic, Derek, I'm just gonna read you the card from that Warrior One show. I want you to tell me if you would have liked this show in 2005. Okay, so it's the first match is Chad Collier and Puma defeating El Tornado and Tyson Dukes.
who is Puma? Because I don't think that wasn't Ricochet.
I think that was a Canadian indie.
I think I remember him. Yeah, I think he's the one that's a referee in WWE now.
Oh, TJP.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Wow,
No,
I didn't even know. I
you
didn't
know
even
who
know
I'm
that.
thinking? I was thinking of Hornet. Hornet's now refereeing WWE.
That's correct.
Yeah. Puma was TJP. That's right. I knew that. No, that's good. You know what? I used to like Chad Collier. Like he was one guy that he was one guy that really didn't really go anywhere.
So the next match, and some of these names I don't remember, just so you know. El Bigote, Cobra Kai, and Otis Idol defeat Ash, El Sombra, and Jimmy Jacobs.
All right.
There's a few names in there.
I know 4 of those guys.
Yeah.
I know 2.
The next match, Cody Steele defeats Derek Wild.
I know Derek Wild, but I don't know any jabroni named Cody Steele.
Woo!
Man, that's just Derek Wild was one of the guys that I did like growing up seeing BCW. I mean, obviously, growing up, I'm not saying I was watching as a kid, but as as a little kid, but teenager till whenever.
Just
Now,
a little bit of trivia there, Punga. Derek Wild, I believe, was the first Canadian talent on TNA.
Yeah, he was. He was in like a battle royal or something.
He was
I
on one of those
vaguely remember
BK
that.
pay-per-views.
Yes, I do remember that. Yes.
I really want to hear Mike Punga's thoughts on this Cody Steele guy.
Cody Steele. I know he's probably somebody that I should know.
Well, think of the
But
name
it's-
Cody and not Cody Rhodes. Who else is named Cody that's a wrestler that you would know? Think local.
DDT, 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 DDT.
Oh, Cody Deaner?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
I think he was.
Ah,
I think he was called completely Cody Steele or something.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't-
correct. Gail Kim and Tarantula Gomez defeat El Fuego and Chantel Stevens.
Well, I think Chantel's at Taylor Wilde.
That's correct.
I don't know the other two.
El Fuego is he's a trainer. Was it Square Circle?
Oh yeah, that's Rob.
Rob
Echeverria. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know it was a mixed tag match. What's
so
the other name?
Tarantula Gomez is a.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't
know who
know.
that is.
I don't know who that is either. I'll see if he's got any other names. Nope. Okay. Next match was the Highlanders with Jimmy Hart, and they defeated Crazy Steve and Kamala. Next match, Chris Sabin defeats Cody 45. I don't know who Cody 45 is.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know.
Chris Sabin, man, where is he now? Like,
He's one half of the Impact Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, he just came back.
The Moore City Machine Guns are the Impact Tag Team Champions.
they call me the wrestling enthusiast, but I'm not
You're
enthused.
not very enthusiastic about wrestling.
I'm not very. Was
All right.
what I was going to say.
Next match.
Oh my God! Don't I sound
The next match is the New Church, Helvis and Sin, and they defeated Team Canada, Bobby Roode and Petey Williams.
Whatever happened to that Bobby Roode guy?
Oh, I'm wondering that too. No,
So Sin obviously is
yeah.
hard, So the next one, and this one was a gauntlet, 8-man gauntlet.
My goodness.
So James Rogers, I don't know who that is, defeats Christoph Levesque and Hangman Hughes, James Champagne, JT Playa, Kingman, Nigel McGuinness, and Stevie Lee.
He's in it to win it.
So I remember that match because I remember Nigel McGuinness came out and I popped big time.
Oh, I would. I still. You know what? He was definitely headliner. My in the indies.
Here's the next match you'd pop for. This is a triple threat. American Dragon, Bryan Danielson defeated Kid Cash and Extremo.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be a cool match.
This really sounds like one of those like indie shows. They became popular in the last like maybe 5 to 7 years, where they're just stacked cards.
Oh, it was.
They bring in all these people, and it's just a stacked card of like 20 or so names or rising stars that they bring in.
So the cool part with that show, there's one more match, but the cool part with the show was it was like a convention. They had so many vendors and things there, and it was really neat.
I think I know the main event.
Go ahead.
Samoa Joe versus Raven with Mick Foley as the referee.
Yes.
Am I right? TNA for the title, right?
It might have been the NWA title.
Yeah.
Because Raven just won it, I believe.
I remember that.
I can't remember.
Show. That's what I remember from this show.
Here's the
Pretty good, Derek.
Here's the funny part is that there's one match they didn't announce on here because it wasn't really, it was just kind of a funny thing when they put the card out. Get this, because this is in Oshawa, so not far from Toronto. They had a match of Ed the Sock versus Mr. Socko. All right. So we were outside the building before the show, and we seen like Ed the Sock like being filmed, walking around with the sock, and the girl that was on the show, I can't remember her name, but anyway, I was like, oh, that's kind of neat, whatever, right? So then at the beginning of the show, Mick Foley comes out, and he's in the ring doing a promo, and all of a sudden, all you hear is, hey, Mick, Mick. And then you see the curtain, and you see Ed the Sock pop out. And he's like, why don't you come down here and I'll kick your ass? So Mick Foley's like, puts his hands up in there, and he's like, I'll oblige. And he walks over there. And then Samoa Joe comes out from the curtain, hits him with a chair. Boom. And I was right at the rail. Joe hits him so hard in the back. The wind blew off the chair. Like, I could feel it on my face. Like, he smoked him with the chair. Because, Mick Foley's not taking a light chair. So, anyway.
Ed Sock.
That sets up the main event. And Mick Foley gets beat up. Well, he got beat up before the show. Joe gave him that kick he used to do. Remember that Olay kick? What was that?
Yeah.
Olay. He gave him that. And then Mick came out during the match, the referee, and he starts beating up Joe in the match, ends up costing the match. But it was pretty cool. That was a really cool show. Like, when I look back on it, that was a fun show. I really, really enjoyed that one. And one note on that, Samoa Joe, when I got his autograph at the show, so I got an old ROH DVD sign, and I had Bryan Danielson sign it, Chad Collier sign it, and Joe was signing it. He's the last one to get signed. So I had a silver Sharpie that he was using, and he signed it, and I went to take the Sharpie, and when I grabbed it, the cap the cap came out. And Joe was holding the cap, and I had the marker, and he's just paused holding the cap, and he looks at me, he's like, just like, he just pauses, it does like the, and I'm like, I take the pen, I slowly put it back in the cap and take it from him. I was like, yeah, won't be any shooting today with Joe. Time to go.
I think you could take him.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I was in a little better shape back then, so who knows. Anyway, so yeah, good shows. It's cool looking back, seeing a guy like Kamala there, because you can't do that again.
No, you're good at getting those.
I mean, if you could do it again, that'd be a very big surprise.
Right. You know how many autographs I have? Anyway, moving on. Lance Cade passed away 10 years ago this week.
Years already.
And it was topical because Slam Wrestling had an article that they put out. Greg Oliver did an interview with Trevor Murdoch 10 years ago, but it never got published. So he did an interview with him that week after he passed. It's a really lengthy, excellent article. But I just wanted to give a mention to Lance Cade because he was one of those guys that never really got to see his peak. He was a throwback type wrestler. Cade Murdoch.
He was trained by the greatest.
Oh God.
Oh, okay, Derek, enlighten us.
Who's the greatest, Mike?
Greatest what? Great. It's like
wrestler. No, what else? Like,
well, I know
convenience store clerk.
Oh, okay, the greatest. Well, I know. Yes, I know that he was trained by Shawn Michaels.
There you go.
Which is not really accurate, but he went to Shawn Michaels school.
Oh, for God's sake, Matt. Okay, Derek makes me guess, and then you put me down. All right. Why do I come on this show? Why do I come on this show?
Rudy Gonzalez was the head trainer there, but
okay.
I'm sure he had some help with that. Anyway, yes, he did train at Shawn Michaels school. There's about 5 guys that ended up doing well in the business out of that school, and Lance Cade was one of the early signees.
You know, with him, he was actually very like not versatile.
He was
a big guy. He was a big guy, but like he did like flips and like
he was mobile.
Mobile.
He was
I guess that's a
he
good
was an
word.
athletic guy, but he was kind of a throwback. He could do like elbows off the top and stuff like that, but he was just a solid wrestler.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like a lot of young guys in the business, had a lot of issues that ended up derailing his career and his life. But there was a lot of good tributes to him this week from a lot of the wrestlers. He was really well thought of, but he's a guy that doesn't get a lot of talk. So I just thought we would bring him up today because
Yeah.
10 years have gone by. It's hard to believe.
I really will go out and say that the tag team of Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch were one of the most underrated teams in wrestling. I'm not saying that they gotta be up there on your top 10 list or your top 20 list or your top 50 list, but they often get overlooked, and they were really really good.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. I remember this one match. It was actually an interpromotional match, and the way I remember it is because it actually happened on the Eddie Guerrero tribute show after Eddie Guerrero passed away, and it was an interpromotional match. It was Cade and Murdoch taking on, as funny as this might sound, Road Warrior Animal and Heidenreich. But like, I just remember that, because I was so tuned into obviously the passing of another one of my favorite wrestlers, and I was watching that tribute show, and I really did like the chemistry that Cade and Murdoch had. It was kind of, even for Murdoch, he was kind of one of those mobile guys, and he was, bigger, stockier. You wouldn't think that he would be flipping all over the place, but no, very, very great tag team, and Lance Cade definitely a very underrated superstar.
Now, this is just going off the top of my head, but while we're on the topic of Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch, and since we were talking about them earlier, didn't Lance Cade and Murdoch lose the tag team titles to the Highlanders?
I believe you're right.
Yeah, look at that segue.
Nice.
Wow. And then the Highlanders
It's not
lost
really a
their
segue,
job. The Highlanders lost their job when one of them appeared in the crowd at TNA.
Well, they didn't lose their job, but they got buried till they lost their job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. That's another team.
Why do you remember that?
What's that?
Who, me?
No, yeah. It's great that you remember that, Derek. Like, just the memory of having that. So.
Well, I'm very enthusiastic about wrestling. What can I say?
Yeah, you're very sarcastic too.
And
anyways,
just we'll move on. So another anniversary. This week was Jim Neidhart, passed away a year ago.
the Anvil.
A year ago?
Sorry, not a year ago. Was it 2 years ago now?
Yeah, it would be 2 years ago.
I was gonna say, wow.
Jim Neidhart, one of the great characters of the wrestling business. We talk about Bret Hart a lot on this show, but the Hart Foundation, that tag team, it's got to be one of the best tag teams ever, especially in the 80s into the 90s. And Neidhart was a big part of that, especially in the early days. He was one of those athletic big men that, he's throwing drop kicks. He did that over the top shoulder block. And he was a character on the mic. Like, he was pretty entertaining for the time. Always pulling the beard, had to laugh. I mean, what else can you say? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because you look back. I go back. I'll often see like a picture or an old match of Neidhart back like in the 80s or in the Stampede. So thick and muscular. Like, you don't think about that. Like, I know when I was a kid, I always thought, oh, he's the fat guy. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really understand that you can be muscular and thick in that and be, you just think, oh, they're fat. They're fat. And traps and his like arms and his like rhomboids. He was a beast. A lot of people like he wasn't
he really was a beast, definitely.
I don't think he was actually like the shot put world champion, but I know he was like the shot put champion at the Stampede or whatever.
Well, no, he went to he had a college scholarship for shot putting,
Okay.
and then he played football, and then he made the I think he was on the Raiders, like he
Yeah,
made
he
the
was on
Raiders,
Oakland Raiders, yeah.
but
I don't think he actually played any games though. I think he was just on.
yeah, I don't know. But the anvil thing came from Stampede. He won an anvil tossing contest.
That's what I'm thinking of.
So that's how he got the nickname the Anvil. Which,
Mm.
that's funny
fitting.
when it's funny when you think about it. When guys had the nicknames and stuff back then, there's usually a reason they had them. And you take something that's real, and that was a real life thing. He actually won the Anvil tossing contest. It was a cool name.
And Bret Hart once was hired to shoot someone.
No, he was a fan of Tommy Hearn. Yeah. Anyway, Neidhart, one of the great characters in wrestling.
And his legacy will like through Natty. Like, look at what she has done. I really feel like she is a Hall of Famer. Like, she is somebody that she was the transition from the divas to women's wrestling.
Yep.
You know, so like I mean, you just gotta look because that is because of Jim Neidhart, and in more ways than one.
I always
Right.
I always thought Natty, the way she wrestles, it's like a hybrid of Jim and Brett.
Yeah, it is because she does have like the discus clothesline, but she has like the agility of Brett, but she also has like the power of Neidhart. Yeah, no, it's definitely
Power of Neidhart, and she really does do the sharpshooter very well.
I just really hate her new gimmick.
Well, then it's working.
It's go away.
Don't get him started.
It has changed the channel heat with me. Fast forward on the remote heat with me.
Well, I'm assuming Lana has something to do with that.
Oh man. Well,
anyway.
Okay. So one memory I'm just gonna say real quick is when here in Windsor, Ontario, that I did get to meet the Full Heart Foundation at the Bret Hart show, and having that signature and getting to meet them in live, I was like, it was very exciting, because I don't get to meet a whole lot of my favorite wrestlers or anything like that. A lot of them, but the Hart Foundation, meeting all three and having signed picture for all three, it was great. It was excellent, and I could not have taken that moment away. You can't take that moment away from anybody. So
I did security at that show, and I'll say I remember Jim Neidhart in the back. He was just fresh off of doing a movie with Paris Hilton in Montreal.
What?
Yeah, he was talking about it in the back.
Really? Oh my goodness, that's a little weird.
I don't know if that's all I remember.
I'm going on his Wikipedia.
Yeah, and I don't want to know what kind of movie, to be honest with you.
I'm sure. I don't think it's that kind of movie, Punga.
Yeah.
Are you looking up the movie?
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, Matt, were you at that? You were at that show, right?
Yes, I was. I didn't know you guys yet.
No, thank heavens. No, but now did you obviously do you have the same picture that I do of the like it looked like an outlaw type picture, like a wanted
what?
poster, like a wanted poster. It was kind of like grayed out, and it was like the three of them, and like I'll have to find it. I'll have to post it for you, on our on your Instagram if you want it. There's for the podcast, but definitely there was a couple different things. I didn't get like a full picture of Jim Neidhart, but the three of them I got. So all three of them could sign it, him, Jimmy Hart, and Brett. But Yeah, meeting him, he was a big guy, definitely.
I can't find that movie, so I don't know.
Oh, I think I found it. It might be Zombie Beach Party.
Oh, say that again. Say that one more time.
That sounds about right.
Zombie Beach Party, but I don't see Paris Hilton in it. So, Zombie Beach Party. That's amazing.
Zombie Beach Party.
Because that was
Well, hey,
2003. He played a character named Sheriff Logan.
yeah, that sounds about right. He would be kind of the sheriff type
On his
actor.
IMDb, and I remember this because he was on. I remember him being on an episode of Thunder in Paradise.
Oh my goodness, that show.
Which Derek again, Jimmy Hart is like the greatest person alive. He did a song on that show called "Girls Really Turn Me On."
Oh, I know, I've heard it.
It's delicious, baby.
Oh man, but no, definitely Jim Neidhart was one of the staple half tag team member. He didn't really have too much of a singles run, did he? There, Matt. Maybe back when he
Um,
first started out, maybe.
he he went to like Mid South as like a singles heel, but nothing really
Okay.
came of that. And then early '90s, the WWF repackaged him as Who.
Oh, yes. I was reading that. Yes. Okay.
Who?
Oh, yes.
I'm surprised Derek doesn't have a Who mask.
Who?
Um.
All right. Well, if we find it,
Yeah.
we can I don't know, share the video. I guess I, I don't know. I am interested in this Zombie Beach Party though. When was that Heart Foundation show? That was 2004.
5?
2005. Yeah.
I don't know. It could
Anyway,
have been. It could have been Bottoms Up.
Bottoms Up.
Yep.
That sounds like an interesting movie name.
Well, it has Jason Mewes in it,
Interesting.
and Paul Walker produced it.
What?
So anyway, let's get back to wrestling.
Well, that was interesting.
I'll
All right.
definitely see the cutting room floor.
Anyway, Neidhart again, great. So just before we get to some shows this week, I'll just touch on some birthdays for August 14th. Johnny Gargano's birthday.
Yeah, one of my favorites. How old is he?
He's born in '87.
Okay, so he's 37.
Kofi,
Nope. He's born in 87. He's 33.
I didn't want to correct you, but yes. Kofi Kingston's birthday, August 14th.
Nice.
How old's he?
39.
39. You know what? I gotta say this. It's funny because like I've been reading a lot of like about like MLK and everything, and Kofi winning that title was such a big thing. Like I remember when he won that title, it
Yeah.
showed a lot of people crying and all that, and I didn't get it. Like I didn't understand it at that time, and now that I see it, like I understand it a little bit more. I just want to say like that was something. That was a lot. That was just something. That was a special moment in wrestling. It was probably one of the most recent moments in professional wrestling that is truly historic.
Oh,
You know what
no,
was
definitely,
cool?
Derek. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead, Punga.
No, I was just gonna say, like, different reasons for different reasons. That match was historic and sentimental to Kofi, I'm sure. Uh, uh, but now that things have been coming out as of late, with MLK and the Black Lives Matter, type of thing, Black Lives Matter movement and stuff like that. I think a lot of that moment was just like, oh man, like it's yeah, to win that title. But go ahead, Matt.
I was just gonna say what made that moment even cooler was that wasn't where they were going.
Yeah, it was organic.
No, yeah,
Because he was
Good
a
point.
replacement in the Elimination Chamber match.
Yeah,
And he got over like he was always over, but it
the
was
fans
like
got behind him. Like,
yes.
social media and everything, and it built him up to bring him to that moment or to
Yes.
that place, right? Because like he was a nobody going in it. Like he was just part of the New Day, right? It was just a filler. And people took to it and give Kofi a chance, give Kofi a chance, and that whole thing was pretty magical.
and I gotta give it
Yeah.
up for the company itself, like the writers and the producers of the shows, and going along with it, because not a lot of times do they ever go along with something that the fans really want, right? And I give them credit for like giving him that stage.
Well, sometimes
So
you just can't deny it.
Right.
no
It's just like Daniel Bryan.
point there.
Just like the Daniel
And
Bryan
yeah,
thing, right? And
yeah,
then
for sure.
the cool part with that is Daniel Bryan's the one that he lost he gave had the match with for the title.
Yeah.
So
A
but
lot of
Derek, just to your point, like if you go back to some of the other matches that are historic, like Ron Simmons winning the WCW title,
Yeah.
because if you ever watch like the fans when he wins the title, there's a kid in the front row. You think he's just gonna explode,
Mhm.
like it's like, and that's the really good stuff with wrestling when that happens is when the fans are just they're there for it, right?
That's feeling
Um,
moments. It's called
yeah,
feeling the moment.
and that's the cool part when you're at a show, when you're actually at the show and you can get lost in the show.
Yeah.
And that's where the magic happens. And that's why obviously it's hard to watch wrestling right now because you don't quite get that feeling. But
No. You know what? There's one moment that at one show that I felt like that. And you guys were both there, and it was the Hell in a Cell match with
oh,
Undertaker and Triple H.
Oh God.
I will never forget that because I never felt like that. Like, because I've been so jaded with wrestling because I've been around it for so much and I've watched it for so much. But at that moment, I jumped to my feet. And I did not feel my body jump, make me move. Like, I just knew, like, at one moment, I was at my feet. And that entire thing, like, even before the match, at that time the song "We Are Young" by
it's a
Fun,
fun song. Yeah,
and the whole stadium was singing it. The whole stadium, and
Whole
I
stadium,
kid you
yep.
not. And you
No, I heard
heard
it.
everyone around you singing that song, and like I mean we were like I know I was singing, and it was a video package for that match, and you kind of knew at that moment that oh wow, like this is kind of special. And then during that match with those near falls, oh my god, I jumped to my feet. I think I shook you Pepper, and like Punga, you were there. Oh my god, that was just you know what? And like you said, like that's what that's what pro wrestling
the
should
good
be.
stuff.
Those are the moments. Those are
What-
what make me. That's why I'm sitting here right now talking to you guys about it, even though I'll have lots of bad things to say.
Well, that show was over when Brodus Clay came out and said everyone should call their mamas, and people are on their phones.
Yeah, but he was over the Grover at the time.
I know, but it's so funny when you think like something dumb like that and people are doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's anyway, just a couple more. Um, It was Eddie Gilbert, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert's birthday.
Oh, very
One of the
underrated.
very underrated, one of the best minds that was ever in wrestling.
Pioneer of ECW.
Yeah, he was booking the Memphis style in ECW
Yeah.
that they didn't really like, but he was the original booker of ECW. And the next one, the greatest tag team wrestler of all time.
Shawn Michaels.
No. Try again.
I don't know. Mario Giannetti.
No.
Ooh.
I will tell you. Bobby Eaton's birthday.
Oh, yes.
Beautiful Bobby.
Another
And
underrated guy.
And just a little note about the Shawn Michaels thing, Derek. He actually wasn't the best tag team partner because he had a lot of crap between him and Jannetty and you know, there was just, you know, clashes. You know, he wasn't the best tag team partner.
Well,
But The Rock
who
was
said
good,
who says I was referencing him and Mario Giannetti? I could be referencing him and Stone Cold Steve Austin.
fair enough. But you know, I'm just saying.
All right. Anyway, I will conclusively say Bob Eaton's the best tag team wrestler of all time because he was good in every tag team. Next,
Oh, I was just gonna ask real quick who was his tag team partners? Like
he was primarily in the Midnight Express.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is also in
So-
the Blue Bloods.
It's true.
Beautiful Bobby.
He was in the Dangerous Alliance tag team with Arn. He could do everything. Like he was just you wouldn't see a bad man. He could make anybody look good. Too.
He is, if you look up in the professional wrestling dictionary, if you look up a good hand, you'll see his picture right next to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I actually watched the Midnight Express match versus the Fantastics about a month ago from like '86, and it was awesome, just awesome. And he's
corny.
so good. Yeah. Well, he was there. The next one on the list, Gino Hernandez, one of the best that never hit his peak.
Yeah.
Out of World Class, was a subject of Dark Side of the Ring. And
I was just about to say that.
For those that don't know, he was found dead in his apartment, and there's a lot of controversy around that since he had cocaine in his stomach. They concluded he had an accidental overdose, but a lot of people don't actually believe that. And he dated Farrah Fawcett. Go figure. He was a big name, huge name in Texas. Last one, one of Derek's favorites, who should have been president of the United States, Mr. Bob Backlund's birthday.
Oh, I know you were probably kidding there, but he actually is one of my favorites. I do love Bob Backlund.
No, I love Bob Backlund too.
Seriously, no.
I know you like Backlund.
Okay, okay. I thought you were just saying
he wasn't
that.
joking.
I legit love Bob Backlund, especially going back and seeing. He was a legit badass. How old's Bobby? He has to be in 73.
He was born in 44.
Mike, do the math.
Okay, hold on.
We're journalism graduates, not math graduates.
Shut up, Matt.
He was born in 44. Okay, so that would make him 50. Nope.
70s.
70.
I just said 76.
76?
Yeah.
He's getting up there. But he's still in great shape, I bet.
He doesn't look any different.
Do you remember when he came back for a TNA run and he wrestled, I think, Alex Shelley?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, he was in fantastic shape then.
Well, remember a few years ago, he came back in WWE with Darren Young?
Yeah.
I remember Darren Young jumped in his arms and he's holding him.
Make Darren Young.
But the story was with him, he was always, he is a little kooky, obviously, but he had that wheel that he would do, push-ups on. So everyone always talks about that's all he would do in the dressing room. He would tell weird facts and work out with that. I don't know what you call that thing, but anyway, I
I know he does the Harvard beat test every day or something like that. Did you ever have to do that in high school?
I don't know. Harvard beat test.
Yeah, so it's with like you take like stairs, like a step, and it's a recording. Every time it beeps, you
Oh
step
yeah.
up, and then it gets faster and faster and faster and faster and faster, and like you're like blown up by like 5 minutes into it.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if he's still doing that,
I heard that
At
like he did.
76.
Yeah,
and
but
that's a guy in the 80s. He was the main guy in the WWF.
yeah,
But he was one of those. He was. I know this is going to be a weird comparison, but he was probably like the John Cena of the early 80s, where
No, it's
he
funny. I was
wasn't.
just gonna
He
say
wasn't.
that. Yeah.
He wasn't like fully loved by the crowd. He
yeah.
was. They were. His nickname was like the heels would call him was Howdy Doody.
Yeah.
And but when he came back in like 90, was it 94, 93, 94, something like that? Because I didn't know who he was because I was a kid. I didn't watch like the early, like that wasn't
Yeah.
out for that, right? So I didn't know who he was. They just kept saying he's like this former champion. And I remember the match he had with Brett. Was it on Raw? And Brett was trying to shake his hand a couple of times, and then he snaps and he crossface.
He snaps.
And then he's looking at the hands. And he was so awesome.
Yeah.
He was so awesome.
And he's known as Duck Arse to the OSW faithful.
What?
You have to watch OSW, especially when they talk about Bob Backlund. It's the best thing in the world. It's one of my favorite parts about it. Duck Arse. Because the way Backlund stood, he always had his butt out. So they called him Duck Arse because they're from Ireland.
I gotcha.
Oh, okay. Got with the accent. Okay. I get it.
Matt, you gotta start watching this OSW. You would love it.
All right. Well, maybe I'll do that this week and we can talk about it. Speaking of things to watch, Backyard Pro is out on YouTube, season 2.
Yeah, I want to ask you about this.
So there is a match on Backyard Pro between Jeff Hardy versus Moondog.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. That took place on a mini golf course. So in the video, there are some familiar faces. So just to give some context to it, I was in attendance for this. I actually had filmed the match on the golf course. And so the premise of Backyard Pro is it's a bunch of pro wrestlers being backyarders. It's quite ridiculous, but it's one of those bad but good type scenarios. It's the guys on it, the talent on it is very good, but they do some pretty weird stuff. The very first episode of season 1 has Psychotic Mike, aka Mike Rollins, wrestling The Rock.
The Rock.
Yes, and it's an actual rock.
I was actually going to ask you that, how big The Rock was, but
So The Rock has a title belt that's mini sized that sits on top of the rock. Anyway, so this is season 2. So this is a mini golf course in Windsor. And the referee for the match is Steve Sorensen's brother, Sleeve Sorensen.
Sleeve. Oh, okay.
Good
to see Sleeve again.
They look identical.
Oh,
so
identical
anyway,
twins. Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Anyway, so the match is fought on the mini golf course. It's quite a unique setting. I mean, there's
Did you have fun? Did you have fun?
Of course.
Yeah.
So let me give you some background on it, though. The weather was not the best that day. It started rain outside. So we're filming on an digital SLR camera. So I have the camera, right? So I don't want to get the camera wet. they don't want the camera wet. So I'm literally holding an umbrella and holding an SLR. So, but I want to zoom. So I got to hold the umbrella in one hand, trying to hold the zoom in the same hand, and then
You
you
didn't have an
showing it?
umbrella.
Yeah, there's sleeve.
Hey, there's
right there.
Sleeve. There you go. And is this who was that?
Okay, so the
Was sorry.
Hardy is
Oh, Jeff
Hardy
Hardy. Okay.
Hardy is Vertigo from Smash, and Moondog Derek. Do you know who Moondog is? He's the
Yes.
guy in Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So that
oh, what's his name there? I was watching this and you disturbed me. Ah, what's his name?
He was getting into backyard
you you
backyard
keep
pro, man.
watching. Keep watching.
I know
That
who it is. It's he wrestled here on the Can-Am
yes,
show.
yes
I
he
just
did.
can't think of his name. What does it start
It's
with?
an S.
Yeah, okay, what it's S and S, right? It's
Yes,
Shane Saber.
that's correct. So anyway, these guys fight on the golf course, and
It looks very funny.
it is funny. So they go through
So
they
you were
go
talking
over
about the Zoom.
the zoom. So I'm filming with an umbrella in my hand, holding the camera, trying to
Okay.
zoom, which is not ideal, but it works for this show because it's as much as when I do camera, I want to, you know, I want it to be like perfect and stuff. Believe it or not, the best advice I ever got from filming wrestling was from Scott, who said, "Don't be afraid of movement. It's wrestling because it's supposed to look organic. So
Hey,
if you're filming something and you have movement, it's okay. But in this instance, it does it because it's whack, like it's out there. So whatever you get type thing. So we
okay.
did the match. The match is one take. There's no double takes or anything like that. So there's a lot of funny spots in it, cool spots. There's a giant giraffe on the course where
That's a,
you're on that right now.
yeah, that's a part of my own right now.
Yeah, so I think he goes in the bush here. Maybe not.
No, that's past that part.
He goes in the flower bed.
All right.
So anyway,
Yeah, it looks interesting.
there's some interesting parts in it. There's they end up playing kind of golf. Like one guy shoots the golf ball at the other guy and sacks him. And anyway, Sleeve Sorensen is hilarious in it because when he's counting pins, he's got the golf scorecard out and he's writing down one.
Oh well,
uh,
that's funny. That's funny.
so it's an interest. It's a pretty cool project they have going. They do a lot of different things. They're not at different locations. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, check it out. It was a pretty cool. It was a cool shoot to be a part of. I enjoyed it. You know, it's really hard because you obviously with everything going on, we don't get to be around wrestling very much, or if at all.
Right.
So you know, it was a fun moment. So you guys check it out. Subscribe if you want. And it was a good time.
We'll do.
All
Now, I
right.
just want to say, like, what it is it looked like it was like a whole bunch of matches in one episode. So if you're
Yes.
looking at it, look for the episode. They got season 1 and season 2, and it's only about 43 minutes long. But there was like I saw actually Josh Alexander in there from Impact.
Yes.
So a lot of names from Ontario. So definitely check out Backyard Pro on YouTube.
Actually, the broadcasters on it is Nug from the Score
Oh,
and
sweet.
and RJ City's on the season 2,
Oh,
and
nice.
he goes by the name on on here, Paul Roma Jr.,
Nice.
which RJ City is he. I'm not all out comedy wrestler guy, but that guy's hilarious.
He's a genius.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we can move on. Derek, did you watch Raw this week?
Is that a trick question?
You said the same thing to me last week.
And guess what I'm going to say to you next week when you ask?
I don't know. What will you say?
Yes, I did watch Raw this week.
All right.
I mean, I fast forward through a lot of it, but I watched some of it.
I watched most of the show. I have to say, this is one of the better Raws that I could actually watch in quite a while. Now 3 hours.
You're watching the same Raw as me?
Yeah. I thought the show was pretty good. But I mean, the bar is pretty low for wrestling, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. What stuck out for you on the show?
What the horrible job they did on Raw Underground that just destroyed it, or Randy Orton's really bad betrayal of Ric Flair, or maybe Dominic, or maybe the fact that Dominic got beaten to a bloody pulp and Samoa Joe did nothing.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wait. This was one of the better Raws in a while. I forgot.
I thought so. I didn't have that much hate for it. Like, what was wrong with any? Well, maybe Raw Underground. I'll probably give you that, but
okay. So let's start off at the top of the show.
Sure.
Dominic and Seth Rollins, they had this promo with contract signing for their match at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I thought this part was great. I thought Dominic looked great and everything. Then Samoa Joe was the MC for this, and obviously, him and Rollins got into a little bit last week, with a stare down and that, and then this week he was saying some stuff. Anyway, it led to a match between Seth Rollins and Humberto Carrillo, and so the match goes on. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, Seth Rollins wins, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes down to where at one point Seth Rollins is beating Dominic with a kendo stick, and so is Buddy Murphy, and they're beating him and beating him and beating him. And I'll give it to Dominic. He took it like a champ.
He
yes.
did. He did.
Oh yeah.
But my question is, where was Samoa Joe?
Why does he have to get involved?
Because okay.
Why not get involved?
At the beginning of the night, he was talking to Seth Rollins, and he was like, you get in my face, well, like he's feuding with him. He was standing up for Dominic.
Yeah.
So
and then he's sitting right ringside at the announce table.
Why does he have to get up though? Like why? Like
because his boy's getting beaten.
Yeah, but he's trying not to get involved. That's the story there. He has the issue with Seth, but he's trying.
So he's going to let this kid get beat and beat. That beating went on for like at least 5 minutes.
Okay, but
here's the thing. Whenever there's a beatdown, right? And you have a good argument for this. How come
I have an excellent argument with this.
But why does it have to be Joe?
Because he's sitting right there and he's already in this storyline.
But where's the rest of the locker room? How come every time a babyface gets beat up, there's nobody out there?
But my point being is that Samoa Joe, they teased it last week. He's involved in this. He's in the storyline. He is a minor character in the storyline that is supposed to be on Dominic's side. When Dominic is getting beat 2-on-1 by two people who have kendo sticks, and he's laying there helpless, and the beating goes on and on and on, and we're reaching the 5-minute mark, and Samoa Joe is sitting there watching at the announce table doing nothing. There's obviously a problem there.
Yeah, maybe he's turning heel. I don't know.
No, it's terrible. That's what it is. It's terrible.
See, I get your point on that, but I think they needed to have the beating on the show. Build the match.
Okay, yeah, but why would Joe not run in at some point, and break it up?
I don't know. Guess we have to find out.
Like, is this not making sense to anyone else? Like.
No, but
Joe,
I'm getting he doesn't want to get involved. That's what I get. Like,
then why was he? Then why was he the mediator this week? Why did he have words to say to Seth Rollins if he doesn't want to get involved?
Because he wanted to mediate the contract signing, so there's no physicality during the contract signing.
then that's getting involved. Why not get someone else like Greg Hamilton or somebody to do it?
Oh, that'd be cool if he starts shooting.
Why not get Michael Cole to do it? Why not get someone else to do it? Why does Samoa Joe have to be involved?
That's what I honestly think's happening. I honestly think he's trying to stay out of it.
Well, yeah, but when Dominic's getting beat like that, though, okay, and you're sitting there and you're watching a 2-on-1 beating, and you're sitting there doing nothing, he is just as guilty as Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy.
So if they, hypothetically, next week, if that came up, then they would continue a storyline with that, would they not? If somebody called out Joe for that.
Okay, hold on.
They done well better.
If they continue the storyline next week, and they will, okay. What I will add to this is that Dominic better be severely pissed off that Joe didn't come to his aid. If I'm going with Derek's point here, Dominic should be severely pissed off, and then like, you didn't help me. I don't need your help type of thing. And like,
to me,
no. Here's an important part that you guys won't bring up because you probably won't remember. There is a good reason why Samoa Joe might not help Dominic.
Can I guess?
Okay. Yeah.
Is this about probably something with Ray?
Yes, because he had a feud with Rey Mysterio.
No, I was gonna say that, yeah.
But that's the thing, though. He also had feud with Seth Rollins.
But I'm just thinking, and I hope this is the case, because if it's not the case, I will agree with you. But I think because it would be an easy re-entry for Ray to come back.
Yeah.
And be like, you let my son just get beat down.
Yeah.
That's kind of what where I think that's going, because they've been teasing this Joe thing for a couple weeks anyway. With Seth.
And I don't know if this is all the case. I don't know if I like it or dislike it that they did not at least show him on camera or flash the camera over to him sitting at the announce.
No, using your point, Derek, I don't like it because it doesn't give any continuity. So what next week you're just going to show him? You're going to show him and Dominic talking. You're going to show him and Rollins going at, like, what are you going to do with Joe now?
Well, this is what I would do. I would have Rey Mysterio come out.
I don't think I would have him
call out this Joe.
Soon, though. Unless, if he's set to come back.
But see, here's the thing, though. See, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see where they go.
But no, the start of that show was it was good.
Well, we're talking about it, right? So there is interest there. So I have a feeling that's. I could be wrong, but that's what I think is going to happen.
But
why did you stand there? Why did you sit there?
Yeah.
Can I just?
Sorry.
No, I was just going to mention real quick though, like you're saying that how Dominic took those kendo sticks, like I'm telling you, like to the back or to the front, it doesn't matter. But that they showed the pictures afterwards, and I'm just like, I could not imagine how he.
Do you think that this might have been an initiation of sorts?
I don't know if Seth's like that, to be honest with you.
It does seem like it though.
Unless he's coached to do that.
Yeah.
And the only person that would coach to do that would be his mentor, full mentor.
I'll say this: Dominic looked good in the segment. He looked he actually looked like he belonged there. Yep. And that's the first time I could say that, because I don't really, he always seems kind of like he didn't belong.
Protecting his dad type of thing, yeah. Well, not himself.
Ray did a good job prepping Dominic. He sent him to every trainer that he knew. He spent time with Lance. I think he spent time with Booker T. He got him acclimated in a lot of different areas. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what all Dominic can do.
Sent him to the SWA, but it was closed.
Well, he was there before that. Anyway,
I'm interested to see where this goes. So keep bringing it on.
anyway, we can talk about the Orton thing at the end. Do you have anything else in the middle of the show or anything like that? I do have one thing I was gonna mention. But...
Yeah, Raw Underground sucked.
Well, I'm glad that they got rid of the girls.
Yeah, but okay, so let me tell you about why I disliked Raw Underground this week and
I
how.
missed the first part of that, so I can't speak for the whole Raw Underground.
Okay, so they really dropped the ball this week. First of all, it seems like even with Raw Underground overall, when you look at every single match that's taken place and it's very, very 80s movie cheesy. It's stereotypical, like underground 80s fight scene. And like this week with whatever his name is, where he like grabbed the guy's testicles and then he headbutted him. It was like
no.
Kato, Davakato, or
Avocado.
Yeah. Anyway, where he grabbed the guy's testicles and then headbutted him. Like okay. That's last time I saw that was in like one of those 80s movies. And then you have Shayna Baszler taking on 3 women, which is funny, Shayna Baszler, since we talked about her in Raw Underground last week.
Yeah, I know.
But
I know. When
yeah,
she popped out, I was like, she's in the ring with Davakato. I was like, no, don't tell me Derek's right. Like,
well, see, if I was right, it would be genius. Instead, they put her against these 3 women, which I see what they were trying to do, but maybe try and coach the other 3 women on how to fight and not just like hesitation. There's so much hesitation there.
I'll just say this on that part. From what I've seen with Raw Underground, that was probably the only part that I thought was decent. Was her beating up 3 girls.
So no, the other part now was they had this match with it was Cal Bloom, who I believe might be Wayne Bloom or not Wayne Bloom, Matt Bloom's son, versus Riddick Moss. They had this match.
Okay.
This was the first match on Raw Underground this past week, and the reason this was actually it went on. It was a long match, but it looked like it was going to turn into a shoot. Do yourself a favor, go back and watch this. There were times where you were like, "Oh my god, like these guys are just going to start going after each other." Like I don't know if I think these are probably pre-recorded, but if it was live,
that's how it should be, though. I think that's how Raw Underground should.
Seriously, this was probably one of the. This was like this. I'm not shitting or I'm not crappy on this match.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it was like, oh my god, like, like these guys are at any minute these guys are just going to start throwing blows and you're going to see people getting in there and breaking it up. They even went outside the ring.
Yeah.
They were fighting. But the downfall, the one thing I didn't like about it though, like I said, I'm not crapping on it, but the one thing I didn't like is that it was a very, very competitive. And if you're trying to showcase Riddick Moss, who did win, he didn't look strong because of it. But
I think this because when I saw what I saw of Raw Underground, to me, it seems like they're experimenting with it, trying to find what they want to do with it, because they changed it from the first week.
Well, right now, my conclusion of Raw Underground, okay, from the first week experiment and the second week experiment, is that it's going to become, or it's starting to become, a breeding ground for heels.
Well, yeah, as it should.
That's what I'm getting from it. Like it.
I honestly,
all the heels are winning.
As they should.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that I was gonna say was about what I felt about the last 2 weeks of Raw Underground is that, it's like Fight Club, like it's like a cheesy Fight Club. It's like I don't know where they're gonna go with it. I mean I don't know if it'll succeed. I really don't. It's one of these gimmicks where it's like, okay, we're gonna try it, and after probably maybe 10 weeks of it, we're finally going to cut it loose because no one's watching anymore. I don't know. I don't think it's very good, but maybe I'll give it another chance.
See, I think if they, I think it could be a good vehicle to launch talent, but it's just they gotta find what they're doing with this show. They need the right people doing Raw Underground. All right, let's move on. I wanted to do one thing before that.
Okay.
Apollo Crews. I just want to say something about him on this show because I think I said
Glad
before.
you're bringing him up.
I think I said before, like I felt he was rushed early on, but I really got the impression, but more so with his promo on this show, that he's actually finding his voice on this show.
Oh yeah.
I was really impressed, like with his promo on this show, because he was like actual conviction and like.
Well, it's because he got mad. Like
Yeah.
he made his voice booming, right? Like we're not seeing the smiling, just happy-go-lucky guy that we all like hated. We wanted him to show some fierceness, some competitiveness. We wanted him to be like to wake up to be like that competitor, right? Because like I mean, that's what it is. It's a competition, professional wrestling, right?
I'll say this: he sold me on this match, and I wasn't like thinking it's gonna be a barn burner or anything, but I actually want to watch his match now because that's the best I've ever like character-wise I've ever seen Apollo, and it's good to see.
I think
he was floundering for quite a long time. I'm glad he's getting his break.
Listen, he's grown a lot from when he debuted till now. I'm glad that they're putting emphasis and a push on him and allowing him to now get competitive, get fierce, make that US championship like actually like competitive again, like it hasn't been. But again, look at his opponents, right? Like I think his opponents have the talent to not carry him, but I think they have to work with him. They have the talent to work with him, and no, I'm liking everything about the Hurt Business, the everything that Apollo Crews has debuted and then grown with. It's excellent to see that. So
very well said. I agree with you.
Good talent, great talent,
and truthfully, I think a lot of credit should be given MVP in this.
Yeah,
because for a guy that was pretty much done in wrestling, MVP is a great promo. He's really turned it on as a heel. This faction, like you said, I like Hurt Business too.
I like how it goes.
If you would ask me a month ago if MVP was like the one of the biggest threats on the show, I would have been like, huh? But all of a sudden, what's old is new again. I mean, but it's good.
When he came back out and on WWE TV, you're like, oh man, like you were either excited to see him, like I was, but you're also like, okay, what are you gonna do? Like, are you just gonna come in for an appearance? Are you actually gonna like, are you gonna stink? Are you gonna have rust? Like, you all those things go through your mind, but then this kind of collaborates it and going, wow, this is actually really, really cool to watch and really, really entertaining. So, I do have to give it to the whole picture there.
Derek, you can talk about Orton and Flair now, since I know you already were ready to dump on it.
Well, one thing
I'm ready.
Okay, so there was one thing that I missed when I was stating everything that was wrong with Raw this week, and that is the fact that they didn't really have any good spotlight on their brand new faction that they're trying to push.
Yeah.
Especially after what happened on SmackDown last week.
Yeah.
So that and now with that being said, let's get on to Randy Orton and Ric Flair. So Randy Orton turned on Ric Flair basically after like a heartfelt promo of sorts. And my issue with this, first of all, why are you going to bring Ric Flair in as his manager if it's only going to last 3 weeks? Second of all, when you're going to do this, it would have been a lot better because I know they can't really put their hands on Ric Flair. Obviously, that's why the lights were going out and whatever. But wouldn't it have it been better if Randy Orton's standing there and he's, saying this stuff and all that, lights are flickering and all that. And then all of a sudden they go out, they come back on, and that faction is surrounding them almost. And Randy Orton just backs up, gets out of the ring, takes off, walks off, and leaves Ric Flair to them. The lights go out, and he's laying there, all disheveled, beaten up to a pulp and everything. Wouldn't that have been better? Because that way you're also putting over your new stable.
I would say it would be good in any other angle because Orton's doing the Legend Killer thing, so it does make sense for him to put down Flair.
But
Okay,
hasn't,
but
hasn't he already?
yeah,
put
he's
down
already
Flair. Like, hasn't he already killed his legend?
it's
thing
yeah,
with
but he's resurrecting the Legend Killer. That's
No,
what
I
it is.
understand. I understand what they're doing, but I'm just saying, like, have him come in. You have Flair come in, and you're kind of helping. Not helping Randy Orton because we all know Orton doesn't need help.
Well,
But
he was helping Orton.
right, he was. But what I'm saying, he's okay. So he's assisting in his quest for the title. Yes, but have him do that. But then, like Derek said, like there's other ways to do it than giving him a low blow, which Ric Flair has always done. Maybe that was the angle. Maybe Ric Flair always did the one up, right?
Yeah, that's a shot in the nuts, literally and figuratively.
But why tease your stable in this though? Your new stable by having the lights flicker and not deliver. And why not have them do anything important on the show except for the same thing they did last week on Raw, which was, what?
Some with the lights.
Break some generators and all that.
I think, that's the light thing was the one thing I would probably could have done.
Like I said, I would have had Orton just leave him to the Wolves. Then next week you could have McIntyre question Orton and say, "Why would you do that?" Blah 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 blah.
Well, I think this is part of a bigger future storyline for Orton.
Oh no,
and
definitely.
This is what I mentioned to Derek before. I think this is going to end up with Charlotte coming after Orton.
See, and that's another thought I had when Flair was laying there, right? And Orton was about to punt Flair, and instead of doing like the actual punt thing where the lights went out and, when he was about to punt Flair, why not have like a whole that stop him, but in front of all those wrestlers have Andrade and kind of like tease that without even saying it or like directing at it,
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
I think truthfully,
even it's like indirect.
What's that?
You could have even done it where Andrade is the first one running down, and instead of going after Orton, he more or less goes and protects Ric Flair, like goes and like kind of shields him, and then everyone else is there, so you have a big schmoz in that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was fine with it other than the light thing. I think they were really limited because Orton, to me, for the storyline, has to take Flair out. Like I think he had to.
Well, I mean, we'll see where this goes, but right now,
because I personally, I liked Flair's promo because it makes him look like he's an old man. He's trying to hang on.
Makes him look like an old man. He is an old man.
Yeah, I know, but how many years everyone has watched Flair, right? So it's one of those characters that he's trying to stay young and relevant, but Orton's like, no, it's not happening today, and puts him down. So it is it makes people feel bad for Flair in a way because he's basically saying, "I know I'm not Ric Flair anymore."
Yeah. No, I
So
like the promo. I like the
yeah,
promo.
I think
I liked
I
everything up
agree.
until the
I
part where they
agree.
got physical.
I agree on the light thing for sure. Because to me, I don't know what else he had to take him out, but he
Well,
can't touch him.
Like I said, I don't like the fact that they brought, if it's part of a bigger plan, like you said, okay, we'll wait and see about that. But on a standalone, looking at it from the nearsighted point of view, having Flair come in for a month and then as his manager and then just kind of, you know,
I think if they don't go back to this, then yeah, I agree. If there's no actual payoff to that, but that's the thing with wrestling, right? Unfortunately, the slow builds are really hard to do now. So we're always like, whoa, what is it?
I mean, we are dissecting Raw every week, so
Yeah, but the Orton storyline has been pretty consistent. He's just eliminating people, and now
well,
he's going for the title. So I don't know. I think, I mean, we say it every week. Something could be better, right? Like there's lots of stuff.
well, Matt loved the show, so let's get on to AEW so I can defend AEW against Matt now.
Oh, well, this is not a good show, but we can talk about it. It's actually one of the worst shows in a while, but
Unfortunately, I kind of have to almost agree with you.
I figured you would because this was a pretty flat show. I mean, we should
Yeah.
just get it. So I wrote notes on all the matches. We'll just rip through it here
Yeah.
and discuss each match.
Oh wow! All right.
So
I'll
Young
save
Bucks,
you on. First of all, let me save you on most of the matches. Okay, with this statement, it went on too long.
not on AEW.
There, that you can put that on almost every single match on the card.
First match is Young Bucks versus Dark Order.
It went on too long.
Oh god. So just the notes I wrote down. Dark Order jumped the Young Bucks. Grayson's not bad. He's got some good moves. There's a ton of bad selling in this match, like just terrible. Like both teams can't sell to save their lives. There's a part where Nick Jackson says in the camera, "Best comeback in the business." These guys are ridiculous. Matt Jackson has the best recovery time of any pro wrestler in the business. He just can get beat up and thrown on his head 6,000 times and making comebacks. Nick
So what you're
Jackson,
saying is you don't like the Young Bucks.
Yeah, for
I'm
some
saying-
reason Matt doesn't like the Young Bucks.
I want to like the Young Bucks, but I don't like the layout of their matches. I think they're pretty poor. They're good athletes, especially Nick Jackson. Nick Jackson can do a lot of athletic stuff, but I don't know. Their matches go forever. Matt Jackson basically, I mean, he makes comebacks like Hulk Hogan, like in almost every match. Like he's just like it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Wow.
Anyway, it was a really weak finish. Match was just under the 20-minute mark. So, like Derek said,
Old man yells at cloud.
So just so I'm giving a grade here, Matt. This website that I went on for the results, for it gave that first match a B-. Do you agree with that?
no.
I'm just curious. Okay. All right.
Mike
All right.
Mike with the one-liners tonight.
This is why I don't like grading matches because
Well, it's just the way this site does the results.
Obviously,
so
obviously
Wait,
Matt-
whoa, was that site? Did that site happen to be Wrestling Observer?
no,
well, that would be
No.
stars.
no.
And
It's
unless
it's called
unless it's in the
no,
Tokyo
it's called
Dome, it's not 5.
no. It's called Sportspedia.
Sportspedia?
Sportspedia. Yeah.
So
I'm not saying they're accurate. I
know.
wanted to give your opinion. If you want to give your
No, I
opinion
just,
on how they grade.
I just want to comment on that. Like, I don't really like doing like a number rating, star rating,
Right.
because wrestling is subjective, right? So it's very hard for me in any match, even matches I like, to give a really high mark. Because I don't view it like that. Because part of it's a story. If there's a story actually in the match, but a lot of these matches are so long and they just have spots for the sake of spots that you really lack a story.
The one thing I will say about this match is that the Dark Order, like, it's one of those dragged on groups. It's like, okay, like, who are you attacking today? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I like the Young Bucks. I think they're talented.
I like the Young Bucks as well, Mike.
But I have to say they're not as crisp. For some reason, there's something off when I watch a match in AEW than I've watched previous matches with the Young Bucks. I don't know. There's just something off. But anyways, maybe it's their opponents. I don't know.
I think they need a better road agent laying out their matches.
I was gonna say that's exactly what I was gonna say, because when they originally, before AEW started, they had that WWE offer, and I remember thinking at the time, if they were on NXT, how much better would their matches be?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Because it would be a lot more structured, and things could actually build and make a lot more sense. They would still have their spots that they would do, but I mean, could you imagine them against like DIY, for example? It would be a lot different than the Dark Order, for example. Anyway, they're one of those teams, and sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but there's a lot of talent in AEW that, because they don't have structure in the matches itself, they just drag on, and it's easy to lose interest in the match, at least for me.
Well, here's a problem with AEW too, okay? Is that they don't have any real hierarchy. So like a team like this match should have been used to spotlight the Young Bucks. Instead, the Dark Order got way too much offense in it. And this match would have been great if I went to an indie show to watch it, but I'm not. I'm watching it on TV. I'm watching it for a certain reason. What is that certain reason? It should be to highlight the Young Bucks, who are going to be in a bigger feud. The Dark Order is not in any sort, like the Grayson and Uno. They're not in any sort of feud right now. So I think that there was too much offense given. It was too much of, okay, I'll help you. You do this, I'll do that. It should have been. I'm not saying it should have been a squash match, but it should have been a lot less competitive.
Yeah, we'll move on from that. So throughout the show, they had interviews with tag teams, because it's Tag Team Appreciation Night.
Oh my god! Don't get me started on this.
All right. So the first one was with Paige and Omega. Oh god.
What Omega, legendary team?
Yeah. So Omega says the Young Bucks, and Paige said, well, I was going to say us. Omega's, oh my god, he's got about as much charisma as, I don't know, paint on a wall. He's a terrible promo.
As this pen.
Okay, now I like the Young Bucks. I've said it a couple times already, but when you're thinking about legendary tag teams in all of pro wrestling, like
it doesn't. They don't come into play.
Well, they do come at one point. You're going to look at them, but not right now, especially for this. Like, first of all, Hangman Page should have said somebody like the Texas Rednecks or something. That would have been nice. And Omega should have said something like, I don't know, like Ryu and Ken or some stupid thing like that.
It'd be like Hagar and Cody from Final Fight or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're doing this tag team appreciation thing, and yet
basically
it's almost like to make it do a joke.
The whole idea of it is FTR wanted a tag team appreciation night, right? So AEW basically is overdoing tag matches the last couple months, trying to tout that they have the best tag division, which I mean, by default they would,
We've
but
already talked about this, Matt.
no. That was the great. Yeah, we did, but by default they have the best tag division because it has spotlight, not because of the talent in the tag division. They do highlight the tag teams though. So anyway, the tag teams on the show are supposed to say who their favorite teams were, and all of these were terrible throughout the show.
Okay.
No, there was one that was good.
I'm pretty sure I have it down here, but we'll get to. I think I know which one you're talking about. MJF segment. Derek, do you have any thoughts on this?
I like that they gave like Wardlow, oh, what's it called? Burberry tie.
Right?
Very.
I
I
know.
mean, it wasn't. You know what? It wasn't as good as his one like 2 weeks ago, but I mean, he's a great speaker.
I'll say this: it was good until the Moxley stuff,
Oh
because
yeah,
that killed MJF, in my opinion. So we're gonna have a podium thing in the ring. His music's gonna hit, and he's gonna act like he knows where he's coming from. I'm gonna send everybody to the crowd, and then Moxley's just walking to the stage with the camera on him.
yeah.
It's just, I don't know. And then Moxley lays him out, but I don't know. Anyway, I
Well,
like
it's
MJF.
about time. It's about time that MJF kind of got his due, because they're doing promos with him. He's been doing, this, that. Like, he started with Chris Jericho, and if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, but then obviously he wants the title. He wants that, gold. And I think everything he talks on the mic very well, and everything's kind of, the crowd hates him. So I mean, he's doing something right. But Moxley, I don't know how MJF and Moxley are gonna fit, but I'm interested. I mean,
I just think I don't really like this ultra gimmicky thing with MJF. Like, he can pull it off, but this whole presidential thing to me is it's not
yeah,
what
that's a little much. Yeah,
Well,
it's
they're
not
doing
what
it because the election should be coming up.
yeah,
in
November,
in
Yeah.
November.
but it doesn't really MJF's that made it what made MJF great because he comes off authentic, but now he's doing like a gimmicky thing. So he could pull it off, but it's not really what I like with him. He can still do it, but it's not. I don't know. I like to see the more aggressive stuff with MJF like he was doing before. But I mean, it is what it is, right? He's still one of my favorites on the show. So Matt Hardy's promo. Oh man, this was a really awkward promo. Matt's a good speaker. I like him talking as Matt, but now he's doing this hybrid thing again. It appears that he's doing it, and then all of a sudden he attacks Mike Posey, who just happens to be dressed as Sammy Guevara. This was so bad. This was so bad. Like this is a segment you would think you'd see on Raw. Like, this is the stuff that AEW shouldn't have on their show, but they keep doing stuff like this.
Well, I think it's a little bit of their, and I wanted to bring this up because I noticed that another referee has joined their ranks from the WWE, or
That was in the next match. Yeah.
sorry, I don't mean to jump the
Okay.
gun, but I just
No,
wanted
go ahead.
my
Go
point.
ahead.
My point of bringing Mike Chioda up is that what's AEW gonna do? Just poach everything and just like, oh yeah, welcome in. We welcome everybody. Like Matt Hardy, I'm sorry, you left WWE. Like, was that funny?
Well, no,
No.
because they tout their all exclusiveness. So
Like
that's what
all
made it.
Matt Hardy's all elite. Are you kidding me? Matt Hardy left WWE, and you know, and then all of a sudden he shows up and he's attacking a guy that should not even be in a, I don't know, like Sammy Guevara has bigger things in AEW than he needs to deal with Matt Hardy. Okay, they don't need to poach every godforsaken person that WWE releases or lets go.
Hey, can I just piggyback on that real quick?
Sure.
Because what you're saying is what AEW said they weren't going to do when the company started.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what they said they weren't going to do.
Although I don't think they should not hire people from WWE if they can make money with them.
Okay, but okay, they could have used. I don't know. Like I just.
With that
Anyway.
being said, I really think Mike Chioda is a good get for them.
Yes,
I agree.
Yes, referee wise, yes, because he can bring the experience, and he can bring his experience to all these other new referees that we've seen, new faces, right? You know, that's definitely beneficial for them. I'm just talking about the superstar.
Kyoto's a good get if you put him in a position where he can help oversee the refs.
Yeah.
But then the talent have to get on board too and not bury the refs, because you could be the best ref ever and the talent can still bury you in the match.
I mean, obviously, he hopefully he has some type of mentality to pull and logic to say to the talent to put him and Cody and say like, listen, we gotta do this. You can't bury the refs, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? We gotta work together, that type of thing. But anyways, long story short, go ahead, Matt. You were gonna say something.
So just the next match was Scorpio Sky versus Cody. Scorpio Sky had a cool entrance. He's got new music. It looks like they're pushing him as a single
Excellent
now.
match.
Yeah, which is good because he's very talented.
Oh yeah, no, these are the guys they need to slowly build, in my opinion. So he comes out. He's got a door in the entrance, kicks it down. Had a cool ceiling cam shot that actually I forgot to mention this. They did a ceiling cam shot for MJF. They just conveniently had one when he was laying in the ring, which didn't look authentic, but it worked. But what was cool, they did use it on this. It almost like the old TNA entrance when they came through the tunnel. They had an overhead shot, so I did like that. They introduced Mike Chioda as the ref, which I was surprised, and I wrote in my notes maybe some good refing for once. Anyway, in the match, good presence by Scorpio Sky. Cody knows how to sell. Sky's targeting the ribs. There's a pretty unique ring post spot where Scorpio Sky pulls Cody like ribs first into the post. The match was good to the last 30 seconds. There was the superplex nobody sold. Then they stopped selling everything they targeted. 2 crossroads matches over. Overall, was a good match. It's just the last 30 seconds was.
Yeah, it seemed rushed towards the end.
Yeah. But Cody's good on the show for a good match, and I am glad that they highlighted Scorpio Sky. My only thing with this Cody challenge is you're building guys up quickly and then they're out of it quickly. So that's my only thing with Cody stuff right now. But it was pretty good. Brody Lee's promo, I don't know, not good. Not good at all. He has the old TNT belt for some reason. I don't know. I didn't get the promo. Next tag team one was Private Party. Private Party actually gave a tag team that was their favorite, and of course it was the Hardy Boys, because Matt Hardy's their mentor on the show. So at least they gave a tag team. Jungle Express versus Omega and Page. I really didn't write any.
No, this match was really bad.
So sloppy. It was. The highlight I wrote down on the match was a shot of Frankie Kazarian in the crowd wearing a Killer Kowalski shirt.
Yes.
Which I popped for that. So we'll move on. Santana and Ortiz were in the showers, throwing Trent and Chuck's stuff in the shower. Again, terrible. Like that's a Monday Night Raw sketch. Anyway, probably my favorite part of the show was Rock and Roll Express and Arn and Tully.
I saw that,
with Young Bucks and FTR. So at first I was cringing a bit when they're just putting over the Young Bucks as the best tag team. And I'm like, okay, this got to be an angle. So anyway, Tully grabs the mic. This is my favorite part of the show. because honestly, he's the best promo on the whole show, on this whole show. And he goes off on, you guys think you're the best. You're not wearing belts. None of you are the best. And
Yeah.
then he steps up to R and says, I got a problem with you looking at that nightmare thing on your shirt. He calls Arn out. I mean, Tully was off. Like, for a guy
Especially
that was
because they referenced something from over nearly a year ago.
yes. And the fact that Tully, a guy who was out of the business for 20 years, can come in and cut a promo like that and own everybody in the ring, that was awesome. And then he gets into it, and Ricky Morton punches him in the face, and then they start breaking out. Then FTR finally,
Yes.
finally.
It's funny because I had to rewind. So I got to a part and then I missed something, so I rewound it. But I was thinking, I'm like, wouldn't it be great if like they hit the Young Bucks with their knee brace?
Yes. When I seen him holding the knee brace, I'm like, oh, he's got to be doing something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm waiting for it, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
and then it's like the rock and roll. And then, man, Ricky Morton on that pile driver. Holy smoke. He flew out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Still
For
got
a
it,
guy,
brother.
for a guy in his 60s, Ricky Morton's going to wrestle till he's 90 years old. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was my favorite part of the
So
show.
what do you think of the final? I guess was it a heel turn or what?
Well, see, they, I really wish there was fans because when they debuted, to me, they would have been the biggest heels in the company anyway. Because I hate this whole love fest with the Young Bucks thing. Well, the respect thing. Come on, it's so dumb. You had a ready-made feud anyway.
Yeah.
I know you want to drag it out, but man. Anyway, they're heels. They're not baby faces.
Do you think they should did this spot with the Young Bucks instead of the Rock and Roll?
Well, they're dragging out the Young Bucks thing, so at least this gives them time. Because I imagine they're gonna have a match with the Rock and Roll.
See, I would have liked it if they did this and the Rock and Roll were laying and the Young Bucks turned around and they acted like they didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
Because that would have dragged it on too, right? And then throughout the entire time, they're kind of like deceiving the Young Bucks behind their back.
Yeah. Yeah. I could get behind that. I just wish, you know what? And I think I mentioned this to you before. I wish they had, if they had fans when they debuted, they would have been so over his heels. Because first of all, they are heels.
Yeah.
They don't work that high flying style.
They're everything and like AEW, like most of the
Right.
fan bases, right?
They named their finisher after the Midnight Express.
Yeah.
They were on Cornette's podcast.
Yeah.
They would have had nuclear heat with the crowd.
Oh yeah.
So we'll move on. Mike Chioda has an interview. Jericho interrupts, pretty much tells him he's got to help him in the match. Moving on, Sammy Guevara comes out doing the Lodi gimmick with the signs. Guevara's the perfect heel because he's got the most punchable face of anybody. Sheeta versus that Heather Monroe. This was actually good because it wasn't long. Sheeta looked strong, beats her pretty handily, gets a little shine on Monroe. That's how these matches should be booked.
Yeah.
Sheeta's good, but there's not a lot of women to work with her. You need to keep it good. One of the weirdest segments I've seen on AEW was Jake the Snake and Lance Archer. Did you see this, Derek?
Yeah, I did.
It looked like Jake was in front of a green screen where Lance is beating people up, and it just looked very weird. And then he comes and rips Jake's shirt off, so Jake's standing there with no shirt, and then on the back of his back's got everyone will die.
Oh my
Everybody dies.
You know what though? It's a shame because if you take out the stuff that was going on in the background and the whole ripping the shirt off, everything dies. Jake the Snake cut an amazing promo.
Yeah.
But the only thing is there was so much going on that your attention was diverted. But basically, in his promo, he was saying, you know, you have your opponent. You can have your opponent beat even before you step into the ring with them by having them mentally. And like it was just such a really great promo. Like if you were to read those words, you'd be like, "Oh my god, like this is fantastic." But it was kind of wasted with everything else that went on.
Yeah. It's just you look at Lance Archer, how good he was when they brought him in. Ever since that Cody match, it's
Yeah.
just nothing.
Well,
Right?
I don't even really recall seeing him have too many matches since then.
No, the only match I don't even know. He had that match with Janela, I think, which was not good either.
No.
Where Janela's looking like Superman against him.
See, it's too competitive.
Yeah, but they don't. Yeah, they especially big guys. They don't know how to book. They don't. Anyway, well, the last match was Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. So Mike Chioda's the ref in this. I was actually shocked. I actually seen Kyoto counting them outside the ring because actually I forgot earlier in what match was it? That match we skipped with Jungle Express and Omega and Page. They're all in the ring and the ref's not counting at all. So Kyoto was actually counting them outside the ring, and I think he made Orange Cassidy break the count at one point. I couldn't believe it because you could say what you want about WWE, the refs are really strong there.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping this is a change, but we'll see. Anyway, there wasn't a lot in this match. Jericho, I don't think he looked that good in the match. He getting dragon screw leg whipped, and he looked terrible. Like
I thought, but I thought he looked awesome. Like I love veteran Chris Jericho with the little, like he has like a gut. And
oh no, the look and stuff's good. I just don't think this match came off very good for him.
Yeah. Oh, can I crap on one thing?
Sure. Crap
Okay, because we skipped that match. So the Kenny Omega.
Oh, you go ahead, please do.
Those suplexes, those back suplexes that he does,
Dragon suplex.
they're terrible. They get worse and worse every week. Like, I know that in Japan they probably they were a little stiffer and they looked amazing, but now he's just rolling with people. Like literally just rolling with people. And there was this one spot which would have kind of been cool where he landed on the outside of the ring and he did it to Marco Stunt. But Marco Stunt did not look hurt by it. He just looked like almost like shocked, like what just happened? And it just no sold the entire suplex.
Well, I mean, Marco will probably be the AEW champion at some point. They're just priming him up right now.
Oh, God.
But no, Omega to me just doesn't look interested at all. Like
No.
it's just
No.
he does not look interested in the ring.
He'd rather
His
be
off-
playing Final Fantasy on this couch. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but when you're doing your job.
I'll say this: Omega probably would be fun to play a video online game with, but I'd rather do that than watch him wrestle.
Why you couldn't see his faces he was making? You know,
Anyway,
it's a shame because if he had like guidance or something, he would be an excellent wrestler.
he's another guy that needed to go through the developmental system.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't have good basics.
Imagine the internet if WWE signed him and put him in developmental and kept him there. The internet would lose their mind.
All you'd have to do is have him there for a short time, and just you could have a couple dream matches and move him.
I don't know. He seems
unless you want, but he probably would fit in better there.
Yeah.
Anyway, him and the Young Bucks. They needed developmental, in my opinion.
Yeah. Anyway, so Omega, or I mean not Omega, Jericho and
Orange Cassidy. I mean, this was designed for Orange Cassidy to win. It was kind of a weak finish. I like Jericho. I'm not I'm not saying he's had bad matches, but this match didn't do it for me. This angle's not doing it for me either, but the match itself was meh. It was what it was. It wasn't anything for me to. I'm not gonna dump on. I like Jericho. He's got enough real life heat. I don't need to dump on anymore on him. But yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea.
Well, we won't be talking about AEW next week.
No, it's not until Saturday.
Yep.
We'll just preview it next week. But we'll also
too many tag team matches, too many matches that went on for a long time, and Kenny Omega's faces. Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, and a good a defense by Cody.
There you go. Can't forget the TNT Championship.
But they gotta stop. They gotta tone down some of these match times, and stop the stupid segments because it's not what they advertised they were gonna do.
No, not at all.
It's not alternative when you're doing what WWE would do.
Well said.
That being said, they have talent. It's just a matter of putting it together. But I've been saying that for about 8 months now, so we'll see. Anything else on AEW?
No, that's about it that I have.
Before we go, AEW started releasing people yesterday.
What? Did they?
Yes.
Really?
They actually released? I didn't hear about this.
They released Sadie Gibbs, who hadn't been on the show much. She's stuck in England. Sadie Gibbs, she was a women's wrestler.
Okay.
I know. I've seen her.
She's stuck overseas. They released B. Priestley.
Really? Because she's stuck overseas?
Yeah, and I didn't. I mean, she was also in that speaking out movement, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But and then it wasn't confirmed last time I checked, but Jimmy Havoc was removed off the roster page too. So that one's not confirmed yet.
So they're just getting rid of all their UK talent.
I think Havoc is in the state. Like I think he lives in the States, so. So I don't know, but yeah, they're starting to release people. But it makes sense to release the people stuck overseas because they can't use them.
Right.
Michael,
exactly.
Just an update though. Michael Nakazawa still has a job.
Now that you mention that, there's a really awful clip of Nakazawa seen online. Him against Sonny Kiss from Dark. Sonny Kiss does the spot in the corner where he jumps up, puts his ankles on the shoulders. So his ankles are on Nakazawa's shoulders. Nakazawa pulls out the baby oil to spray, and then Janela intercepts, and Nakazawa throws the baby oil, and then they start fighting, and then Sonny Kiss slips and does the splits on the baby oil.
Sounds like a good Saturday night.
Oh my God. This is wrestling. All right. On that note, we should wrap her up. We'll be back next week. We're going to preview. We'll preview SummerSlam next week, too.
Preview SummerSlam next week. Awesome. Well, hey, if you need
you get the sheet ready for the lineup, okay?
Sounds good. I'll have that ready. If you'd like me to co-host again.
Yeah, we want you on every week.
You bring in the rating.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Well, on that note.
Now you see why I do this in the shed?
Follow us on all social media. Catch us on every platform.
Yep.
And don't forget our YouTube page either. We'll see you guys next week.